Hi there, and welcome to my wheel throwing pottery series. In today's video we're going to be coning the clay. Now what does that mean exactly? Well, essentially we'll be forming this clay into a cone shape and then pushing it back down onto the wheel to partially centre it. It's not the final centering process, but it does help to centre it. Coning the clay also helps to align the platelets in the clay. The clay is formed from little plates separated by water, and the more we can get those to align with the direction of the rotation of the clay, the easier it is to form the pot. The part of your hands you'll be using to cone the clay is the area at the base of your thumb and just below your palms. And you'll be placing your hands onto the clay a bit like this. As you start off, I recommend you keep your hands pressed down firmly onto the wheel. As you become more experienced, you'll be able to raise your hands up the cone as you go. You have a small enough lump of clay that you don't need to do that. You'll have a lot of lateral movement and you don't want up and down movement making life more difficult for you. As I rotate the wheel, I'll put my hand up against the clay, and as you can see we have a lot of movement here. And what we're aiming to do is to push the clay into a more central position. We don't want the clay pushing our hand. We're trying to reduce that lateral movement in the clay and in our hands. We want to start by putting a lot of water on the clay. As much as you like at this stage. In fact, the more the better. What we want to do now is lock our arm into our body to try and reduce the amount of movement. We can use the back of the tray to help too. Now I'm going to rest my hand up against the clay and just let it run through and introduce some more water. With my other hand I'm going to do the same. Try and lock the hands together if you can. Push your hands hard down onto the wheel and try to stop them rising up. Just form your hands into a cone. Try not to incorrectly lift them as I've done here, and then just remove your hands slowly. We're going to introduce a lot more water. We really don't want our hands sticking to the clay. So we place our hand up against the clay, lock our arm into our body, and then push down with the other hand so it forces the clay into the one on the wheel. As you can see, we haven't pushed down very far, but we've already got the clay far more centred. If a small ramp has formed at the base of the clay, just remove it with your finger. This will help prevent any vertical movement of your hands and assist the coning process. So this is essentially the coning process. You'll need to repeat it a number of times to get to a stage where you can complete the final centering. So we repeat the process again, forming the cone. I have my hands open at the front here, just so you can see what's going on, but I recommend you lock your fingers together, and that'll help to keep your hands down on the wheel head. So we push the clay down again into our locked hand, and we should be forming a sort of triangle with our arms here in order to give as much support as we possibly can. We could start the final centering process from here, but we might just want that cone a little bit taller. We want to end up with this sort of shape for the final centering process. And just remember to just try and remove that small ramp of clay with your finger. So if I place my hand up against the clay here, you'll see it's running smoothly through my hand with very little lateral movement. It's not perfectly central, but suitable for the final centering process. So that's coning for you. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do like it or subscribe to the channel. And thanks very much for watching.